Colts fans, we have our answer. Anthony Richardson has been named the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Horseshoe Huddle Podcast presented by Fan Nation on SI.com, part of the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Andrew Moore, and I'm joined here, as always, by my co host and fellow writer at Horseshoe Huddle, Drake Wally. Drake, we were just talking about this right before the show. We did not expect this to happen today. We did not expect to be having a special live episode tonight talking about Anthony Richardson being named the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. But man, it feels good to finally know who is going to be leading this team and for it to be number 5. How you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful, and just like you said, I was quite taken off guard when I was like, wait, what? And he just like kicks off the press conference with that before any questions are even answered. He just lays that out there. So I think that shows confidence. I think that shows that they really believe in him, and they feel like there's really not any need to delay the inevitable. So we'll get into that. But yeah, overall, I'm excited, and Colts fans should be too.
Yeah, I really think they should be. It's an exciting time to be a Colts fan because we don't have to wait a couple weeks or a few weeks into the season to see this rookie quarterback. He's going to be starting from day one. This was the right decision, in my opinion, and now it's just time for him to go out there and learn the ropes of the NFL. People, we already got a ton of people in the chat already. Stormy Hellbrook, great to see you. Looking forward to yet another podcast from you guys. Thank you so much. And thanks for calling us a great team as well. We appreciate all of your support. Stats, Matt, 2 nights in a row, ready to start a new chapter officially week 1. And hopefully that chapter is a long one. Exactly. Someone asked me today, do you hope this ends up being like Anthony Richardson turning into Andrew Luck? And I said, hopefully it's a lot longer than Andrew Luck's career. Great to see his stats, Matt. Wyatt is in the house. Let's get this party started. So is Wombat. Absolutely. So we're going to kick things off, as always, by hoping you guys follow us on social media, like Horseshoe Huddle on Facebook, follow at Colts on FN on Twitter, and subscribe to Horseshoe Huddle on YouTube here. Hit that bell so you know whenever Drake and I are going live, whenever Shad goes live with the Saddle Up Show. Exactly for this reason, when we have surprise episodes because of big news in the Colts world. And if you can't catch us live, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're on there as well. So subscribe, leave us a 5-star review so that way you never miss an episode. So Drake, before we really dive in and give our reaction, I want to play the clip from Shane Steichen when he formally announced Anthony Richardson would be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And this clip is from our very own Jake Arthur. So credit to him as the cameraman on this, boots on the ground there in Westfield. But this is Shane Steichen announcing Anthony Richardson as QB1.
Start off, after evaluating, training camp and the film and all that, I made a decision Anthony will be the starting quarterback this year for us. Like the progress he's made, excited about his future and this playmaking ability that he brings to this football team. And with that being said, we're super excited to have Gardner Minshew, ultimate teammate, ultimate pro, does everything right, grinds and grinds and grinds. And he's going to be great for Anthony. He's been great for him all season, through training camp and all those different things. But excited about Gardner and this future of this football team.
I loved Bob Kravitz's reaction there in the back as soon as Steichen said that Anthony Richardson was going to be the quarterback. Kravitz got this look on his face like, what did I just hear? So that was great. But Drake, the news came out a little after 10 a.m. this morning Eastern. What was your gut reaction when you saw that pop up on your screen that Steichen had named Richardson as QB1?
A good reaction, a very surprised, a pleasantly happy type of surprise. Maybe like around the time he was drafted, I kind of was thinking, maybe he needs to sit those first couple games. And we talked about it multiple times. But after watching him like we did in camp, after just hearing the consistent reports that, yes, there were some down days, but he would recover from mistakes, not make them twice, mentally would bounce back. All of those things mixed with his athleticism just points towards starting quarterback. A mix with Shane Steichen's system, all of that pointed towards it. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear about it. I'm excited because I think it's right out of the gate. He gets thrown into a fire because it's a divisional game against the reigning division champs. So it's by no means some soft intro into the NFL. It's going to be the freaking Jaguars trying to take, the defense will be trying to take Anthony Richardson's head off. So, yeah, I'm excited though, because it's going to make everybody step up, I think, to a new level.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I was shocked at first because I didn't really think that we'd be hearing the news this early. I mean, 2 preseason games left. Colts don't play until September 10th. That's still just a little less than a month away before week 1. So the way things were going with how evenly the Colts were splitting up first team reps between Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson, yeah, it was leaning Richardson a little bit. I assumed that it would be a couple more weeks, but as Steichen said, after watching the film and going over things, this is the right move, and it really is, because Drake, what have we been saying all throughout this whole process since Anthony Richardson was drafted? I mean, he needs the live reps, and as long as he can handle things mentally, get him out there. Get him out there on the field. Let him learn. The only way he's going to be able to learn is by making those mistakes, being in those live situations. He's not going to be able to replicate that just holding a clipboard on the sidelines or getting them in practice, So get him out there. He has proven already in a very short amount of time that he can handle the mental side of things. Because like I said, and like we've both been talking about, he's a very bright kid. This isn't somebody that struggled in school or struggles to pick things up. He picks things up very, very quickly. So he's shown that he can handle the mental side of things. Now it's just going through and actually doing it on the field and learning that. He's shown great command in the huddle. He's shown great poise, great command of the offense. It was just the obvious answer to go with Anthony Richardson week 1. And I think I want to commend the Indianapolis Colts on this, because I really feel like they have handled this whole process and over the last few months with Anthony Richardson, with Gardner Minshew, they've handled it really, really well. And I want to give them kudos to that, because this could have been a situation that they very easily could have been messed up, but they've gone about things the right way. They've been patient. They haven't forced anything, and they've let Anthony Richardson kind of grow into his own right. And we've seen already the success of that. He's catching on very, very quickly, and now he's ready to go out there and be the starter for the Colts week 1.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the ultimate quarterback evaluators that we're talking about here. And now he's had a chance to get his own guy from week 1 all to himself as a head coach. So the fact that he feels ready and the rest of the coaching staff, I'm sure they delegated over it. It wasn't just a one-man show here. I'm sure that they all agreed on it. It was probably a unanimous decision to go ahead and do it. So that shows the confidence. And ultimately, you never know the fruits of a decision, until later on. But right now they seem pretty confident, and given Shane Steichen's track record with quarterbacks right now, there's really no reason to not trust the guy.
All right, let's go to the chat here and highlight some. We got Sarah is in the house tonight. Great to see you. She says, I'm happy Anthony Richardson is starting. Love him. So back-to-back nights of Andrew and Drake. Life is good. Shout out to Noah Compton for that. We've got Wyatt Law spitting facts. Says Gardner wasn't signed to compete to start. His contract shouts that. Anthony Richardson needs every last rep he can get. Brilliant move by Steichen, which is why Ballard hired him. And then we can't go without talking about the CFO of Horseshoe Huddle. Patrick is back with another super chat. Patrick, man, we really do appreciate all your support. It does mean the world to us. Patrick asks, now that we have a starter, do we think he will still play 1 to 1.5 quarters the next preseason game, or see playing time like other established starters, 1 to 2 series? And this is a very interesting question, because I mean, normally in the second preseason game, you would see them go, the starters play 1.5 to a full half, or 1.5 quarters to a full half of football, I should say. But with the Chicago Bears coming into town, the Colts have joint practices with the Bears tomorrow and Thursday, and now those joint practices are usually a bit more intense. They do a lot of schematic things with that. So a lot of times when you have those joint practices, the starters then sit for the preseason game because they've gotten enough reps in practice. They don't need to go out there and risk injury in the preseason game. But with Anthony Richardson, what have we been saying? Live reps matter, and that's what he really needs. So, Drake, what do you think? Do you think after these joint practices, even though Anthony Richardson has been named the starter, we still see him out there in that preseason game against the Bears?
I still think you do because the regular season's not that far away. I mean, I know the NFL offseason's an eternity, but once a preseason starts, it all goes so fast. Pretty soon you're right there at week 1. So I just, even if it's kind of like more, what did he say? More like, Patrick said the established starters. Even if it's just 1 or 2 series, I think you're just going to see him out there. Why break the consistency? Why break the momentum that he's, keep his legs fresh, keep him fresh in those games. Don't hold him out. Even if it's, not 1 to 2 quarters, make it at least kind of like he said, 1, 2, 3 series, whatever. Maybe even kind of what they did for the first preseason. It wasn't an eternity he was out there. But he got valuable experience in that time span. So I think you need to start him again.
Yeah, and I think it could definitely be something that the Colts take into account. Ultimately, I think this is what's going to happen. I think the Colts are going to see how he performs over these next 2 days in practice, and if he ends up needing the more reps in Steichen's eyes, or there's stuff that he needs to clean up, then I think we do see him in that preseason game. But if the coaching staff is happy with where he's at, how he's performed over these next 2 games, especially at going up against the starters, because he won't be going up against the twos anymore since he's been named that starter, you might see him not play. If the coaches are happy with where he is, why risk him going out there and becoming suspect to an injury? So it's definitely something that I think is going to, there's not a final decision that has been made yet. And I think it's going to be after these 2 practices against the Chicago Bears starting defense, we'll have a clearer view of if Richardson needs to go out there in that preseason game, or if the coaches and the Colts are happy with what they've seen. Patrick follows it up with another $5 super chat here.
This guy's a machine.
Rolling. He absolutely is a machine. So Patrick says, follow that up with, do we think that forces unnecessary / extra reps for other first team starters so they can be out there with Anthony Richardson for chemistry? And again, that's a very good question, Patrick, because it poses the question, do you really want Anthony Richardson out there in front of an offensive line that is consisting of Arlington Hambright, Wesley French, Danny Pinter, Blake Freeland, Amila Kior? I don't know if you do. I mean, that's we saw how the second team offensive line really struggled against the Buffalo Bills. Do you want to put Anthony Richardson out there behind that? I certainly wouldn't. I would want to keep my starting franchise quarterback safe. So if Anthony Richardson goes out there, that likely means that the others would be out there too, to keep him safe, like I said, but also, as Patrick mentioned, to try to create more chemistry and more playing time, more reps with him with the ones. What do you think, Drake?
I absolutely agree. I don't want him out there with the second team. Look, to the second team offensive line, very briefly here. It's the first preseason game of the year. For guys like Blake Freeland, it's his first ever career game. Amila Kior, same exact scenario. So we're not hammering these guys down, but it was a concerning performance, especially if you're going to put Anthony Richardson out there with the second team at all. You probably, if they had that plan, they're probably changing that game plan. Basically is what I'm saying, is they, especially now that he's officially named him the starter, I just think they need to start him. Like, even if it's, again, for 2 or 3 series, just start the guy. Keep him rolling with the first team, regardless of how much experience he's getting in these practices and, against his own team.
Patrick, we really do appreciate all your support, and
Yeah,
and thank
dude.
you for bringing up really good questions too. Those were great talking points. So Patrick, you're an absolute legend, man. Keep it up, and thank you so much for all your support and being a loyal listener to the show. Want to shout out to Truitt as well for the $2 super sticker. Truitt is another loyal listener that's always in here. So shout out to Truitt, just another one of the good guys. So Truitt, we really do appreciate all of your support. So Drake,
You, sir.
before let's we talked about our gut reactions to the news. Let's hear from the man himself. This is Anthony Richardson's gut reaction, and when he was asked how did he feel when Steichen relayed the news to him, and this is what he had to say.
Honestly, I was shocked. I've been grinding, putting in work just to get the title, but it's not really all about a title. I'm just trying to make sure I'm ready for the team. Despite being labeled as QB1, I still got other guys in the room helping me get to that standard. So I'm forever thankful for them. I appreciate them, and I'm glad I did get the nod, and I do have the trust in everybody in the building to think that I am QB1.
So he's not resting on his laurels, Drake. Even though he was named QB1, this isn't going to stop him from continuing to work, continuing to grind. I mean, and he mentioned that all throughout his presser today. While he's there and he's the starter, this is just the beginning. It's not a we made it moment. It's a more like, okay, this is just the next level. I need to keep going.
Yeah, and look, he was brought in. It was kind of a 50-50 battle, and some people legitimately thought there's that chance, kind of like me. Maybe at the time of him being drafted, I was like, all right, he might benefit from 2 or 3 games just sitting, which isn't many. That's not many to ask. But look, he's impressed me. He's clearly impressed Shane Steichen and the other coaching staff, which is very offensive-minded, very forward-thinking with the quarterback position. So clearly he's gotten to the point where he's good to go, and they feel like he's ready to go out there division game right away and take on Jacksonville.
Exactly. Shout out to my wife, Danielle Moore, for her nightly super sticker as well. Really, really appreciate it. And hey, as Patrick says, I gotta help fund Mrs. Moore's next trip. So she's forever grateful for all the super chats that Patrick sends our way. Really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much, Danny, for the super sticker. So Drake, while most Colts fans are really happy about this decision, it's not always going to be pretty. It's going to be, there's going to be some ups, there's going to be some downs, there's going to be some pros, there's going to be some cons. So let's dive into those right here. What are your pros and cons? Let's start out with the cons. We'll start out with the bad and with the good. I like how we do that. So what cons do you see to having Anthony Richardson out there right now?
Yeah, right out of the gate, Jacksonville's a tough opponent. Like, they don't have a blistering defense per se, but Doug Peterson is a good coach. All right. He's going to understand how to fluster. He's going to understand how to fluster Anthony Richardson and how to get to him. And he's going to do probably similar to what the Bills did, just bring relentless pressure and say, all right, beat us short and intermediate. Okay. Or try to throw deep with pressure in your face. So he's going to make it tough. So there's a chance he might struggle with that. I do think that he could have issues with that heavy blitzing, just with the pressure, but then maybe not being able to handle pass-heavy scenarios. Let's hypothetically say the Colts get behind 14 points, you're going into half or something like that. You have to start throwing the ball a little bit more. You can't just keep on running the ball to win. And it's the regular season. You're playing to win. Even though they're not, forecasted to be a playoff team, they're still trying to be that anyway. So, they're going to be trying to win that game, and you can't do that running the ball down 14, 15, or more points to a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right. And in my opinion, for my cons, there's not too many of them, because if we're going into this with realistic expectations, and I love this comment by Acosta here, we as a fan base just have to stay patient. He's not going to be our saving grace right away. And you're absolutely right, Acosta. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
If you go into the season with the appropriate expectations, and the expectations you should really have had all along, that this is not a Super Bowl year for the Colts. This is probably not a division winning year for the Colts unless they really shock us. This is a soft rebuilding year. This is a year where it's about learning and allowing the young guys to develop. So I mean, the cons, I guess a con could be that the Colts might not be as competitive starting Anthony Richardson, just because he's going to have those games where he struggles. He's going to have really good games. He's going to have really bad games. That's life in the NFL for a rookie, especially a quarterback. Hell, Peyton Manning, ring a bell, 28 interceptions. I mean, there's numerous cases, but just going to that point, patience is going to be so key. And while he's gonna make those mistakes, we might see some inaccuracies. There's gonna be some rookie miscues. This is all a part of the plan. This all needs to happen so he can grow. He can face that adversity. How does he rebound from that adversity and just mature into an NFL quarterback, and along the way, learning, getting better, and improving, so that way he can reach the incredibly high ceiling that this 21-year-old kid has. So those are the cons for me, but Drake, the pros far outweigh the cons.
Oh yeah,
you're going to allow him to get in there right away and to be able to learn against starting defenses with those live reps, having Shane Steichen and Cam Turner in his ear, being able to go out there and play with the likes of Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Jelani Woods, theoretically guys that could be his teammates for the next 7 to 10 years. You know, so if to be able to grow with these young players, create that chemistry and build a bond that could help all of them reach their potential, because all of them are very, very talented individuals. So it's really hard to argue that about the cons, because the pros are just so vastly more important. You need to get Anthony Richardson out there. You drafted him at the number 4 overall pick for a reason. You saw the potential for him to be your franchise quarterback. So get him out there, let him learn, get those reps in, and allow this kid to grow and see how far he can go.
Exactly. And he needs to get out there immediately and play the tough teams. And he's going to get that in week 1. And what he's bringing to the offense is he's bringing something that's making defense second guess every single play. You always have to account for him. His mobility is going to open up opportunity for others. If Jonathan Taylor somehow is healthy enough to play and somehow gets a contract negotiation completed, that is an entirely different wrench that defenses have to deal with. Is holy cow, those two in the same backfield in that, I believe it's a pistol set. That's just ridiculous to have to deal with. It's a mind boggle as a coach. You're just trying to figure out what's happening. You said Evan Hull next to him while you have Taylor in the backfield. Then you have Richardson. That's a lot to deal with. So he's also bringing vertical aspects because Shane Steichen wants to attack secondaries. I mean, he needs to get these tools, these weapons developed by getting those reps, by taking those hits, by making those mistakes. I mean, we saw it in the preseason game. He tosses a bad interception, rebounds by taking the team right down the field. I mean, he legitimately mentally was there and he let it go. He's got all the tools. He just needs to go out there and showcase it. And he's got to get those reps, and he has to get them early.
And then I think this move isn't really, it doesn't divide the locker room either. The locker room is all on the same page that Anthony Richardson needs to be out there. They've seen what he can do on the practice field. They see what he does behind closed doors, the preparation that he puts in, the amount of questions that he asks, the desire, and as Shane Steichen likes to call it, that obsession with his craft and getting better. We've heard it from Michael Pittman Jr., we've heard it from Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Shaq Leonard. All of the leaders on this team, even DeForest Buckner, all of the leaders on this team have been incredibly impressed with Anthony Richardson and backed him up, saying, you know, like this kid gets it, and he's going to be something one day. Zaire Franklin, add him to that list of a big voice in the locker room, and Anthony Richardson knows that. He knows the weight that his teammates are of those words that his teammates are giving him, and he doesn't take that for granted. He talked about that today as well.
You know, I'm forever thankful. You know, I respect all those guys in the building. You know, I appreciate all of them, and you know, I just try to work my tail off every day for them, because I don't want to come in here and make it seem like that everything should be handed to me, because it definitely shouldn't. You know, I have to work for everything, and they've been here working for everything. So I'm just trying to reciprocate the same thing and just continue to grind and continue to gain respect and trust from those guys.
Again, we talk about it. He was named the starter But this kid isn't stopping. I mean, he still has a lot of work to do, and he knows that, and he invites that. So, talking about that, Drake, I mean, it just seems like I keep getting back to this. The kid gets it, and and his teammates can see that, and that's something that's going to bring this entire locker room together and rally around Anthony Richardson, because his team, he's become very, very quickly a very lovable teammate, and somebody that guys want to go out there and play with.
Exactly. And when you get a guy that gets drafted, he's a rookie quarterback and he's seen as the future, and he rallies the rest of the team around him, that gives you an idea of his mentality and how serious he's taking his craft. We've seen busts like Johnny Manziel. We've seen busts like Jamarcus Russell and guys like Ryan Leaf as prime examples of guys just don't want to deal with it. That he breaks a locker room because he comes in a little too arrogant or whatever. It's tough to rally that much talent that's way more experienced than you, making way more money than you, way more established, to rally around you and want to help you. And every single guy you talk to, it's infectious almost what Anthony Richardson's brought to the team. And Shane Steichen and company, they just believe in him. And they understand that they have to get him out there clearly. I mean, Shane Steichen's already announcing the starting quarterback barely into week 1 of the preseason. So, hey, you know what? You got to love it. I think that it's great that the rest of the team's rallying around him, because they didn't do the same last season. Too many quarterbacks were getting rotated in and out. It's nice to see some continuity and future for the position.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to take a look at a comment here by Stats Matt, because this is
coming in.
Yeah, this is definitely a pro that I think we should pay attention to. Stats Matt says another pro, they can finally install the offense they want to run and tailor it to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's biggest question marks are on-field things he won't improve watching from the sidelines, and that's a big key there too, because Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson are vastly different quarterbacks. So the offense is going to need to be really switched up if you want to tailor it to each quarterback. So going into this with Anthony Richardson as the starter, you know who your main guy is going to be, and you can tailor that to his strengths. Incorporate a lot of those RPOs. Incorporate a lot of read options, make getting Anthony Richardson outside the pocket at times, calling design runs for Anthony Richardson, taking advantage of his deep ball accuracy, and really testing defenses down the field. All of those things are needed when you're talking about an offense with Anthony Richardson creating those explosive plays. Now that the Colts have decided on that, they can really start to really feature those parts of Shane Steichen's playbook and tailor the offense and design it around Anthony Richardson's strengths.
Well, and exactly like you said, those strengths are what's going to help him, kind of like we've been talking about. That's how he's going to develop quicker. When he's doing what makes him comfortable. We've talked about that word too. When a rookie quarterback starts getting comfortable in an offense that's new to them, they really start to flourish. That's when you see the developmental curve go up. Okay, so it's going to take some time. I think that he's going to go out there early and he's going to struggle early because it's all new. It's a different team. First string guys now, superstars coming after you. So it's a totally different ball game. It's going to take some time, but that's how you get him developed quicker, fit his strengths, fit the system to him, run the ball, and just get him going early.
Exactly. It's gonna help his development when he has an offense that's tailored around his strengths. And then that way his weaknesses, maybe the short accuracy, things of that, you can build those in slowly as he's getting better with those things. And I'm sure defenses are going to notice that. They're going to try to key in on Anthony Richardson and really force him to go against what he's good at. You know, I would expect a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzing from defenses early. So to see how Anthony Richardson handles that, to see if he can diagnose that quickly, see if he can find his hot routes, see if he can handle throwing the ball, getting it out quickly and accurately while under pressure as well. So all of those things are going to be something that things that Anthony Richardson faces early on, and it's going to be up to Shane Steichen. Number one, it's going to be up to Anthony Richardson, I should say, to get better, learn from those, and be able to diagnose and overcome that. But second, it's going to be on Shane Steichen and the rest of this offense to tailor and put Anthony in the correct positions, so that way when those things do come, he's got an option, he's got an out, and the Colts can keep on going.
And at times he's going to, with those struggles, you might have to adjust the offense too. I mean, Shane Steichen is just a chameleon of an offensive play caller and coordinator and offensive thinker. He just tries to manipulate the offense so that it fits that quarterback's strengths. That's why these guys before that he's coached have been able to develop, is because they get to do what they do best in his type of offense and tutelage. So I think it fits Anthony Richardson regardless. If he struggles, I think that he's going to adjust it to his strengths, and he's going to continue to try to get him into a positive, consistent playmaking type of style.
Exactly. Logan Schmidt is in the house saying that he's late. He joined us about 6
I'm
minutes
late.
ago, but hey, he's late, but at least he showed up. I was talking to our old friend Brandon Moses here, and he said he couldn't watch us tonight because he was watching his sister-in-law's soccer game. So just another move by a casual fan, Brandon Moses. Well, I mean, it is what it is. But hey, Logan Schmidt's big time. He's close personal friends with Pat McAfee. He's featured
officially
on Pat McAfee's show. So hey, keep doing your thing, Logan. You're killing it on Twitter, or X, I guess is what it's called.
That's
now. Right. But Drake, we talked about having realistic expectations for Anthony Richardson this year. Let's talk about it. What are those realistic expectations for Anthony Richardson? What are your expectations for number 5? Now knowing that he's going to be the starter week 1, and if he stays healthy all season long.
As the games start to pile up, I hope to, I expect, since it's the subject, to see him improve that short and intermediate accuracy, those touch throws. Clearly, he doesn't struggle with the deep ball because that was a dime he dropped into Alex Pierce's hands, before the drop happened. So, I mean, the deep accuracy, again, is not a problem. So just keep improving his footwork too. Keep using that instinctive pocket presence. Keep fine-tuning that, because that dude has got great pocket presence for someone so young and inexperienced. And take what the defense gives you. He's got a huge arm. He's got a rocket on his right side. So he's going to want to take those shots and really believe in his arm. No, take what the defense gives you, even if it's underneath stuff, which we've seen him do in camp. We've seen him go from throwing deep too much to start to refine where he's throwing the ball. So, by mid-season, you hope to really see that stuff short up and just improving with the accuracy too.
Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, I expect a more explosive offense with Anthony Richardson in that game. As he settles down, as he gets games under his feet, you're going to see, and he gets more comfortable, just not only in the playbook in Shane Steichen's offense, but just more comfortable playing NFL football. You're going to see things open up. So you can expect more explosive and deep passes to Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce down the field, Josh Downs, Kylan Granson, whoever. You can expect that, but you can also expect ups and downs. Like we've been saying, he's going to have some good games. There's going to be some bad games. There's going to be games where he throws multiple interceptions. You're just going to have to live through the growing pains that is going to form him into an NFL quarterback. That's just going to be expected. But I'm expecting to see more good than bad. And a telltale sign of that, we already saw that in the preseason. The kid comes out and throws a bad interception, but he comes back the next 2 drives. He showed poise. He didn't let it affect him. The second drive got past midfield and should have kept going. The third drive should have been a touchdown. If Alec Pierce brings it in, probably another touchdown if Farrell Brown doesn't hold on that scramble. So it's just going to be a process, and Colts fans are going to have to be patient. Colts fans can't overreact to things. If he has a great game, we can't call him the savior for the franchise. But if he has a bad game, the Colts shouldn't trade him immediately either. Okay, it's just we're gonna have to ride the roller coaster and let this kid develop. Terrell's he's already got the stats going. He says offensive rookie of the year, 3,400 passing yards, 750 yards rushing, 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and 9 rushing TDs. I mean,
31
honestly,
total touchdowns.
Honestly, I would take that in a heartbeat. If we could see Anthony Richardson do that, that'd be a very good year for a rookie quarterback. So really appreciate you joining us, Terrell, as always. So yeah, Drake, I think again, just Colts fans are going to have to ride the wave essentially. take the good with the bad, and as long as we're seeing Anthony Richardson improve throughout the season, and we're seeing everything come together, I think that's the goal for what we want to see in 2023, and then we can start talking about 2024 and beyond as far as molding him into the quarterback we want him to be. Or want to see him become, I should say, and really taking it to the next level. But the rookie year, it's all going to be about the learning experience, and you're just hoping that Anthony Richardson learns, develops, and you start to see him putting it all together throughout the later half of the season.
And you want that because you want that for the future too, because Josh Allen's not going anywhere. Justin Herbert's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes sure as hell isn't going anywhere. This is a very stacked AFC. It's incredible. It's basically way up here, and the NFC seems to be down here as far as quarterbacks. So
Right.
You're talking about years to come, high-level competition. You want him to start hitting his stride in the next 2-3 years. So by year 3 or 4 or 5, he's really hitting on all cylinders, and the accuracy is no longer an issue, or at least it's manageable, because with him being a running quarterback, how it goes sometimes with accuracy, but we've seen Lamar Jackson really do well and increase his accuracy too. So I see Steichen being able to do that with Richardson as well.
And you talk about all of those great quarterbacks that are in the AFC: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and we could go on and on.
Scary.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, there's a lot of young, great quarterbacks. And so when you hear Anthony Richardson talk about how he's not just satisfied with being the starter, that's a good thing, because he's chasing something completely different. He's chasing something that's on another level than just being a starter. Let's see what he wants to chase.
Yes, I talked about it before. I want to be great. I want to be remembered. I don't want to just be one of those guys like, okay, he was in the league. I want my legacy to be remembered forever, and I'm working, just trying to work forever and build, championships here with this team and this organization.
Anthony Richardson, chasing greatness, wants to build championships for this team and for this organization, for the Colts and for Colts fans alike. That's music to their ears. And that's our show for this evening, guys. Really, really appreciate everybody tuning in. Want to give a special shout out to all of our super chats tonight. Patrick, the CFO, an amazing 2 super chats. Truett, and then my wife Danielle as well. We had a lot of people that we don't normally have tonight, so thank you all so much for joining us. Special shout out to Wyatt Law, Jack Rizzo, Logan Schmidt, Stats Matt, Terrell, Unboxing Mania, CMDSR, Nomadic Brian, and Acosta for all of his support, Wombat and Stormy Hellbrook. All of you guys so much. We really, really do thank you and appreciate all of your support. And if you haven't done so already, please follow us on all of our social medias, like Horseshoe Huddle on Facebook, follow at Colts on FN on Twitter, and subscribe to the Horseshoe Huddle YouTube channel. Hit that bell so you know whenever Drake and I are going live, because content is going to continue to be pushed out here on the Horseshoe Huddle podcast. Can't catch us live? Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're on there as well. So make sure you give us a 5-star review and subscribe. So Drake, before we get out of here, go ahead and tell the people what you've got written up on horseshoehuddle.com, because even though we were live last night, we were pushing out content and writing away with all of the news today. So what can the people go check out that you've written?
So for our channel, I wrote Anthony Richardson was announced as a starting quarterback. So there's if you didn't get to see the clip in the episode here, go check it out, because it's actually embedded within from Twitter. So I covered that, but also something else that I'm going to be releasing is, or having released, is 5 things that the Colts must accomplish against the Bears as opposed to what they did against the Bills.
Absolutely. Make sure you go check those out. I released a piece today on Anthony Richardson's comments and how he is chasing greatness and all the other aspects involved with him becoming the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. So make sure you go ahead and go check all of those out on horseshoehuddle.com. You can follow Drake at DWalster Drake on Twitter. You can follow myself at Andrew Moore NFL, and we will be back Thursday night to talk about everything happening from Colts camp, including those joint practices with the Chicago Bears over the next 2 days. So until then, everybody, enjoy your week. And Colts fans, The Anthony Richardson era has officially begun. We'll see you.